We're surrounded by artificial intelligence. It's in our smart speakers, it's in our cars, and it's definitely in the phone that's probably in your hand right now. But if you ever stopped and asked yourself, where does all that thinking actually happen? Well, the answer is sparking a quiet revolution, one that's moving the brain of our devices from some distant cloud right into the palm of your hand. So let's get right to it. Is the brain of your device in some massive, faraway data center, or is it right there, inside the gadget itself? Well, the answer is kind of both, and the shift from one to the other is what's kicking off this massive technological revolution. All right, so here's what we're going to cover in this explainer. First, we'll get a handle on the two kinds of AI brains. Then we're going to put them head to head, cloud versus edge. After that, we dive into the really cool part, the great chip redesign this is causing. We'll look at the 5 huge hurdles engineers are facing right now, and finally, we'll wrap it all up by talking about why this matters for you and me.
Okay, let's kick things off with the 2 fundamental ways our devices get their smarts.
First up, you've got cloud AI. This is the big, powerful brain sitting in a massive data center hundreds or thousands of miles away. You know that magic when Google Photos finds every picture you've ever taken of your dog just by you typing dog? That's cloud AI. It has almost unlimited power, but it needs a solid internet connection to talk to that remote brain. But then you've got the new kid on the block, Edge AI. This is a smaller but way faster brain that lives right inside your phone or your smart camera. You know, when you use portrait mode and it instantly blurs the background in real time? That's Edge AI. It's doing all the heavy lifting right there on the device, on the edge of the network. No internet needed. So we have these 2 models, the distant powerhouse and the local genius. And this brings us to a really fundamental choice in how we build our smart devices. So let's put them head to head and see how they stack up. On one side, you have the near infinite computing power of the cloud. I mean, it's incredible. But on the other side, you have the benefits of keeping things local. We're talking lightning fast speed, much better privacy, and the freedom to work anywhere, even if you don't have a signal. And when you look at them side by side, the trade-offs become crystal clear. Edge AI is ridiculously fast, and it works offline because, well, the brain is right there. Now, this is the big one. It also means your personal data stays on your device, which makes it way more private. Cloud AI, on the other hand, has all the power in the world, but you pay for it with lag, that delay when data has to travel, and of course, the privacy risk of sending your info out into the world. You know, there's a quote from our source material that just nails this. It says, Edge AI is like moving from a giant library in the city, that's the cloud, to carrying a mini library in your backpack. The city library has everything, but you have to travel to get it. The backpack library is instant. It's yours, and it's always with you. Just a perfect analogy. And believe me, this isn't just some niche tech trend. The market for the hardware that powers Edge AI is set to absolutely explode. We're talking over $110 billion in the next decade. A number that huge tells you everything you need to know. This is a fundamental, seismic shift in technology. Okay, so the demand is obviously there. We all want this. But moving all that intelligence from the cloud to the edge creates a pretty massive challenge. You can't just stuff a smaller cloud chip into a phone. No, this requires a complete revolution in how we design the chips themselves. Let's go back to that library metaphor for a second. How on earth do engineers take the power of that giant city library and cram it into something that fits in your pocket, runs on a tiny battery, and doesn't get screaming hot? The answer is you have to basically start from scratch. For the semiconductor engineers who design these chips, the old rules just don't apply anymore. They are facing a whole new world of challenges that demand brand new, creative solutions. So what does this new rulebook for chip design actually look like? Well, we can break it down into 5 major hurdles that every single chip designer has to clear to make Edge AI a reality. These 5 things are all connected. The tug of war between power and performance, overcoming memory roadblocks, the shift to custom chips, the sheer complexity of putting it all together, and the absolute need for built-in security. Let's break them down, one hurdle at a time. All right, first up, power versus performance. A cloud chip in a data center is plugged into the wall. It has all the power and cooling it could ever want. An edge chip in your smartwatch, it has to sip power from a tiny battery and last for days. This forces engineers to become masters of efficiency, using clever tricks like clock gating, which is basically turning off tiny parts of the chip for milliseconds at a time, just to save every last drop of energy. Next, you've got this double whammy of memory limits and the need for custom chips. See, big AI models are super memory hungry, but your phone has a very limited amount. Your standard CPU just isn't built to handle that efficiently. So this physical limit has forced a monumental shift towards custom-built hardware. Specialized AI accelerators like NPUs or neural processing units that are designed to do one thing and one thing only, run AI models incredibly fast and efficiently.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. This chart is fascinating. It shows what hardware developers are actually using today to build their AI products. And bam, look at that. NPUs are the dominant choice by a huge margin. Almost 80% are using these custom-built AI brains. That right there shows you the entire industry has pivoted.
And that pivot has kicked off an absolute arms race. You have nimble specialists like Siva and Quadric going toe-to-toe with the titans. We're talking Apple's Neural Engine, Google's Tensor Chip, and silicon from Qualcomm, NVIDIA, and Intel. Everyone is locked in this global battle to build the smallest, fastest, most efficient edge AI chip on the planet. Finally, we have integration and security. Engineers now have to figure out how to cram a traditional CPU, a graphics GPU, and now this specialized NPU all onto one tiny little piece of silicon. It's an incredible packaging puzzle. And because these chips are now handling our most sensitive data, our faces, our voices, our health info, security can't be an afterthought. It has to be baked right into the hardware from day one. It's absolutely mandatory. Okay, so we've gone all the way from the cloud, down to the chip, and through those 5 huge engineering hurdles. But let's bring it all back home. What does all this incredibly complex engineering actually mean for you? Why does any of this matter in our daily lives? So here's the bottom line. The whole move to edge AI is what makes our devices feel so magical. They respond instantly, they protect our privacy, and they work even when we're offline. But that magic is born from a truly immense engineering effort. These chip designers are in a constant battle with the laws of physics, trying to make these silicon brains smaller, cooler, faster, and smarter, all at the same time. So, as these brilliant engineers keep getting better and better at shrinking that giant library of intelligence into a backpack that each of us can carry, it leaves us with one last really exciting question to think about. When your own personal, private, and instant AI is finally right there at your fingertips, what's the first thing you're going to ask it to do?